These are the last days of Marnerplaw, the military headquarters of the Karen. For 48 years, the Karen people have been fighting successive military regimes in Burma for control over their traditional lands. Only a few weeks ago, this river which separates Burma and Thailand was still controlled by them. So was a large stretch of territory along the border of eastern Burma. It was part of the so-called liberated zone. And it was to Marnerplaw that thousands of students and pro-democracy politicians from the cities fled at the beginning of this decade. Here was Burma's opposition, its government in exile, its last stand against the military dictatorship. Every Karen child knows this song. It's their national anthem, and they sing it in their own language. All of these children are orphans, and each of them has an intimate relationship with Burma's regime. Their parents were killed or tortured by soldiers. This is the veteran guerrilla fighter who gives the orders and has done for more than 25 years. General Bomia, Supreme Military Commander of the Karen Rebel Army, President of the Karen National Union. He's both hero and aging warlord. He has some 5,000 soldiers left, but the news hasn't been good for years. General La too has been fighting alongside Bomia for most of his life.
What situation you would like to know?
Well, the situation at the front lines.
Ah, the front line. Our soldiers stay as before.
But things are not the same as before. For decades, the KNU's territory has been shrinking, and the estimated 200,000 Karen still living in so-called liberated areas are exhausted by the years of resistance. The military rulers in Burma, those who run the SLORC, the State Law and Order Restoration Council, have persuaded a number of other ethnic minorities to sign ceasefire agreements. These agreements are regarded as sham because they have not addressed the fundamental political issues of autonomy and human rights. But the SLORC, with its army of 350,000, has stopped even talking about a formal ceasefire with the Karen.
Surrender is out of question.
They're old men now, but 40 years ago they were young guerrillas fighting for Karen independence. They're deeply suspicious of the Burmese because previous ceasefire talks held in Rangoon turned out to be traps for Karen delegates.
Do you believe that Rangoon is sincere about wanting to make peace?
No, not at all. They are not sincere.
The Karen, united under Burmese, have been able to resist decades of Burmese army attack. The guns are second-hand and cheap, bought from Cambodia. Here are some of the same weapons used in the Vietnam War. And this is the KNU's mountainous front line. Burma's big guns are only a few hundred kilometres away on the other side of the valley.
And where did the shells land? So they nearly got to you? The soldiers here say they've been getting messages from Karen villages further inside Burma. The villagers have told them that the Burmese army has sent more battalions with heavy guns to reinforce its front line just over there. At this stage in their long war against Rangoon, the Karen are virtually isolated and extremely vulnerable. And there's a real expectation that Rangoon is preparing for a final assault. The Karen are now hopelessly outnumbered. For every one of them, there are at least 10 Burmese. The big guns dropped in the river. So he said, so we can't go to the temple, to the Karen side.
Today, the shelling is sporadic, but only a few weeks ago there was some very heavy fighting at the temple. It sits only a few kilometres downstream from the Karen headquarters, at the junction of two rivers. The position is highly strategic. Whoever controls the rivers controls the Karen. But the Karen are not proud of the battle which took place back there, for it was not their soldiers pitted against enemy Burmese, but Christian Karen fighting Buddhist Karen.
Oh, I have good news for you today. You have all been adopted as the children of God. All are one in Christ Jesus.
American missionaries first brought the Bible to this part of the world in the early 1900s.
Not one Karen baby, not one Karen boy, not one Karen girl is born without a father.
The good news spread.
We give thanks to God and our Father.
Today, virtually the entire leadership of the rebel Karen National Union is Christian, either Baptist or Seventh-day Adventist. General Bomea was once an animist. He converted to Seventh-day Adventism after his marriage. His son Rocky, the man interpreting the sermon, was born